Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Investing Bros. It is Monday, June 12th, and we got a great show lined up for you guys today. Bitcoin dominance going pretty nuts right now. Actually, that's the Bitcoin chart right there. We're sharing my screen here, but I'll show you Bitcoin dominance closing in on 50%. We'll talk about that here just a little bit later on in the show. We also got some other stories we're going to talk about. We got some bullish things for Bitcoin going on, maybe some bearish. Also, of course, we're not going to escape the episode without talking about that Cardano and other altcoin crash this weekend, which was beautiful buying opportunities. Just put a poll up in chat asking how many of you guys went ahead and bought this weekend. Overwhelmingly, a lot of you guys are saying yes, although it is early on in the show and we only have 19 votes. Make sure that you go vote in that poll. You hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more content that we teach you guys everything you need to know about crypto, about stocks, about investment, so that you can make the best decisions for yourself and not just have to rely on somebody else. We're the Investing Bros, the most generous crypto community out here on YouTube. And I am joined this morning by the Texas man, Mr. Army Piper. How you doing this morning, Piper?
Brother, I'm doing fantastic. Just trying to watch my charts and keep my money in the upward motion. So, and I did buy this weekend. I bought some Cardano. So, and it's up right now. So, I dropped 1K in ADA this weekend at 25.5 cents. So,
Very
I'll
nice.
take it. I'll take it.
We're watching Conan here in the background. Now Mitt Romney. Let's go to Brocam here for a second. What's going on? What are we watching this morning?
Nothing.
Mitt Romney
I was trying to set this up here on my thing, and it's playing. See, I got to go to here, and then I got to go to my charts. So right
I love
there.
it.
There we
Listen,
go.
I'll
Look,
watch. Conan.
I can watch Investing Bros while we're doing Investing Bros. So
There we go. Yeah, Inception right there. Yeah, we got a quote. Got a quote this morning. So before we show my screen here, Piper, last night was probably the roughest night with Brody. He did not sleep very well at all because yesterday he slept very well during the day. So I did not go to sleep well. And so this quote really reminisces with me this morning. Go ahead and share my screen here, Piper. This, of course, from the office, as we're doing every single day while T-Shroom is gone. I'm an early bird and a night owl, so I am wise and I have worms. Got to give it up to Michael Scott. I'm feeling it this morning. I feel that hard. I was a night owl and I had to get up and be an early bird every day. So, Piper, what do you think about that? Do you ever have days like that? Do you ever feel like you have wisdom and worms at the same time?
Yeah, that was definitely today for me. My wife woke me up and said, "Hey, it's 6 o'clock." And
There we go.
for those that don't know, 6 o'clock for me is 8 o'clock for Tim, which means we're usually talking at that point about the show and getting things going for headlines. So yeah, I was running a little behind today, hence why my chart prime spinning logo wasn't up here, and rough morning, Tim. So today,
Listen.
yes, I am wise, but I have worms. So
here's all that matters, man. We are here. We are here. Who else are you guys seeing getting up at for me, get up early, but who's doing a 9 a.m. show? I think there's a couple 9:30 shows in the crypto space, but even those, those people are kind of pushing it. We are out here every single day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., giving you everything you need to know. I know we probably don't have a lot of Californians watching right now. The truth is,
I don't do a 9 a.m. show, Tim. I do a 7 a.m. show.
I know.
Well,
here's what I'm saying. Yeah, who else is doing a 7 a.m. show, a 6 a.m. show out in Cali? Nobody. But for you guys who are night owls or early birds with wisdom and worms, we're here for you. You are our people. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button and that like button for that. Before speaking of our people, let's go ahead and read some names here, and then we'll jump into content this morning. Our first commenter of the day, I do believe, was Mr. Elo Brown, followed up by a Mellow Fellow. So thank you to you guys. Welcome in and congratulations for being the first commenters. Let's see. Let's check in on this poll real quickly. 64% of you said you did buy this weekend. 36% said no. Oh, man, it's okay. It's okay. I don't, we'll see. We'll talk in the TA. We'll look at the TA stuff to see if there's going to be another opportunities with those altcoins. And see what's happening with Bitcoin as well. Let's see who else is here. Elliot Locke is here this morning. Crypto Pew Pew Cruz is here. One of the great names. Love leading that name. That's the one right there that wakes you up. Crypto Pew Pew Cruise. It's just a good ring to it. Crypto JMP is here. Who else? Crux of Crypto, which speaking of Crux of Crypto, guys, today, you guys will remember, is the newsletter coming out, I believe, at 12 Eastern Standard Time, or is that 12 o'clock your time, Piper? If you're talking, we do not hear
muted.
you.
I believe that's going to be at 12 our time. I'm going to guess.
Okay. It'll be out this afternoon is the best way to put that for you guys.
Because he
So
just got back from Mexico. He went to Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and
he's always going to Mexico.
Well, you know, he went away. He went on a trip. What happens every time he leaves?
And Bitcoin freaking dipped. Yeah. Well, you want to know what else happened that made Bitcoin dip? This last week, Beamer escaped the yard twice. He climbs. He's climbing the freaking fence. This dude, I'm literally about to have to put up plywood all over our fence because he found this little corner where he can use the fence post and a tree, and he climbs out and he gets over the fence, and that's why Bitcoin is down. Let's keep reading names though, because we got a lot more of them.
Crux did clarify it's going to be at 12 Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. for us.
There we go.
So,
perfect. There we go.
There you go.
All right. 88 Ace is here saying welcome. What's going on? Mr. J is here. Curtis Rourke is here. Mike Lowry is here. One of the things I do want to say, Curtis Rourke did say he said I did buy. It's scared. I'm scared though it's going to dip a little lower. To which I replied to him, and someone said, "I'm now that I'm a dad, I'm using potty humor." I said, "Buying while a little pee is running down your leg is a normal thing." In fact, I would venture to say sometimes the best buys in the world is when you got a little bit of pee running down your leg. That's what keeps you honest right there. Who else we have this morning? GS is here. Eric Wallen is here. Who else do we have? A couple more names and we'll get into the show today. Mike Play. Yeah, Navarro is here. Philly Skills 1428. Average Crypto Joe. OBC. Let's see. A couple more and we'll keep going. Mike Lowry. I think I read that name already. A lot of the same people. Crypto Trades is here. Indo Crypto, Ninja Glock, The Kid, come on, Joe Nickel, Juice Toes, Adam Delgado, CBD Suddy, French Toaster, and we'll get two more here. Brian D. and Rick Wilson. Oh, there we go. No, this is how I know that we're done reading names, because I see Crimson Caravan Company, and he always comes in commenting right as I'm about to end it. I know there's probably a couple of names, guys, that I did not read this morning, like Dr. Crypto Billy, and Shannon Sharp, and FOMO Rod, and maybe one other. I don't know, but if I didn't say your name, it's not because I don't love you. It is just time to go ahead and move on into the show, because guess what? We actually now have some economic data to talk about after a very slow week last week. Piper, what are we seeing over on the economic front?
Well, first I want to say, because but first, Crypto Trade said that we had talked about the levels in Discord, and 25.5 was where I had told everyone that I was setting my buy orders on ADA over there. So if you matter of fact, I told them, hey, things are looking really tight. They're squeezing on the oscillator, on the chart prime oscillator. So we have a move in the next 24 hours. And it was about 2 hours later that everything dumped. So they had a heads up. I did say I tend to see that it's going to be going to the upside, not the downside, because it was in the middle of on the zero line. But I did say, here's your support levels below if we do go that way. And that's about where we went down to. So yeah, if you guys were in our Discord over on Investing Bros, you would have gotten that info because I put it in the free section for everyone. So
free price of free, got to get in
price
there.
Of free. Got to get it. Got to get that alpha every day. So, all right, let's jump over, check out the macroeconomic news, guys. That is not what I want to start with at all. We want to go with the macroeconomics calendar first. So here we go. There we go. Economics calendar. Guys, nothing today. That's a big nothing burger for Monday, June 12th. In fact, let's drop it down to the 1-star impact and let's see. Yeah, it's just auction notes and bill auctions. So not seeing anything there. Let's go back to the 2-star. You'll see nothing for today, but tomorrow, Tim. Tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
CPI data, core inflation rate month over month coming in tomorrow, and the inflation rate. Right now, I want to point this out. Currently at a 4.9% inflation rate in the United States. Consensus says we're down to 4.1. Guys, this is really close to getting down to the 3% mark in the 3% range. I mean, 3.9 is only a couple of tenths away from there. So I'm seeing that. I'm going to be watching that. But the reason I'm going to be watching that is because I've been showing you guys Trueflation for a while now, and Trueflation has us at 2.75 neutral today from yesterday's move. So well over 2.2% below what the United States federal government is saying. So, and the federal government, they're really good at numbers and everything. Let me tell you, Tim, I got to jump out at Brocam. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got to do this. Check
Let's
this out. So my wife retired from the United States Army after 26 years, March of 2022. Okay. March of 2022. Guys, these are the people that are handling our numbers and our money and our taxes and everything else. Okay. The federal government. So before she can get her last paycheck from the United States Army, they hold it. So you don't get paid for like 2 weeks after your normal pay date because they do a full audit to make sure that you don't owe the federal government any money. We got a letter on Friday saying that she owes the federal government $410 for overpayment from last March, 15 months ago. By the way, you can only go back 12 months to get your pay documents from MyPay, from the Defense Finance Services. So we don't even have a way to go back and see exactly where what was paid or how they messed up their audit. But what we think is that they just copied and pasted the calculation from the previous year, which had a leap day in it, and they did not check it. So there's probably a whole lot of people that got paid on an audit last year that are getting told you owe money now, and there's no way for you to go back and get the documentation to fight it. That's your federal government handling your money right there. Perfect example of it. So
that's one way to make some money and not have to raise taxes. We'll just tax all of the former military. That's
by the way, I love that plan. That's a great plan. By the way, if you don't pay it within 60 days, they start tacking on a 6% interest rate. So there you go.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you, federal government. And people wonder why the U.S. military are all going over to crypto and don't trust the government with their money, because we've seen how you handle our money, people.
It's good stuff, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, can't make this up, man. All right. Speaking of people that can't handle money, right? Let's get over to liquidations on the 24-hour. Great segue there. 24-hour here, guys. Looking at total liquidation amount in the last 24 hours, about 61 million. Looking at Bitcoin, 11.5 million of that on there. 5 million of that was in long, 6 million in shorts. People were expecting it to keep going down. We kind of hit that stagnant mark and got a little bit of pump up, which we're going to show you on the charts in a minute. Ethereum sitting at about 10 million. All others sitting at 4.9. Let's go down here, see who the biggest winner is. Oh, what do you know? It's Binance. Binance getting all that liquidation action going on over there. Somebody else's exit liquidity. Congratulations. So, guys, trade smart. Stay primed. That's what I got to say about that. Tim, let's kick it over to you. You can show that FOMC data, man.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm thinking it's about ready to go ahead and settle it. We only got 2 days left. Let me scroll up here. 2 days left here until we get our FOMC meeting, and we get to see the beautiful face of Jerome Powell speaking about interest rates once again. So looking like a pause is imminent, and we're going to get our first one in over a year. Let's take a look real quickly and see, are we still expecting in July? Yeah, it looks like they're still expecting, with a 51% prediction saying that we're going to see a 25 basis point rate hike in July, but then we end the year in December. If I can click on the button. Oh, this is new. This is new here. So now, well, nope, it just reset. All right, well, this is not new, guys. It's saying we're going to end back at 5 to 5.25, which it actually makes a lot of sense, because that's what Jerome Powell and the Fed have been saying, is their expectation is to end the year at 5 to 5.25. For a while, we had expectation, and technically there's 0.6% prediction saying we're going to end at 4.25 to 4.50, but some people thought we were going to start with a massive rate cut. It does not look like that is going to happen. In fact, it looks like a pause. And then in July, we'll raise, and we'll pause in September, then we'll reduce in November, and then we'll hold in December and kind of wait to see how that one plays out. So keep your eyes on that one. Not anything necessarily changing there, but long-term, that should be bullish for Bitcoin. Speaking of bullish for Bitcoin, we're back down in the neutral over the weekend with that big dip down to 47. We kind of briefly got, well, I guess we were still in neutral at 453 or so, but we're getting closer down to the fear. That's a good sign for Bitcoin. We're going to be talking in the news section here a little bit more later on in the show about some bullish stuff happening with Bitcoin and what whales are looking at. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll kind of have both sides of it, though. We have a bullish story and a bearish story. But before we get there, let's go ahead and go over to the charts. Which, speaking of, actually, go to BroCam real quick. We had a question in chat here just a second ago. Told you guys I want to answer as many questions as I can while also doing the show as normal. I think Shannon Sharp, let's see, where did she put this? She asked if I was going to Charlotte with Ben. I don't think so, but guess what? Other things have happened where I didn't think I was doing things, and I got told last minute I'm going. But that would be awesome. I will definitely let you guys know. If I'm in Charlotte with Ben for a meetup, I will let everybody know. So anyone in that area, I know I've met a couple of you guys who are from that Carolina area. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Any other questions we have here before we make it into our TA?
Someone asked about staking Cardano while storing it on a ledger.
Well, don't do that. Don't do anything on Ledger at the moment if you can avoid it. Scott, I believe it's Scott that's asked that question. I don't know if the answer is yes or no, to be honest with you, because I do not stake my Cardano on Ledger. In fact, I don't have Cardano on a Ledger at all right now. But I guarantee you I'm not about to go put any Cardano on a Ledger with all of the nonsense that's going on with that. I'm very much looking for a new cold wallet. Drop your recommendations. I'm a fan of Arkless is probably where I'm leaning towards getting a new cold wallet and getting over Arkless.
Is that the one that that T-Shroom is testing?
I have no idea. Is T-Shroom testing a cold wallet at the moment?
He is, and they want to sponsor the show. So
well, whoever it is, I would love if that was Arkless because I do love Arkless.
Because T-Shroom did not jump on the offer. He said, "I would like to test out your product first to see if it's worthy of our community." So,
and that's exactly what we should be doing. And if it passes the test, then we got ourselves a new partner, and we'll keep you guys posted on what that is. Let's go ahead and go over here and do some TA this morning, brought to you guys by Chart Prime. Phenomenal indicator. You guys are going to see it. This is the thing. This is how you know it's a good indicator, because I've seen other technical analysts use paid indicators, or they reference them, and they'll do all this normal TA, and then at the last second they'll be like, oh, but look at what this one says, and look at what this, oh, and if you can go down and use our code and get that. It's great, make money, support channels. When it comes to Chart Prime, you guys are going to see on this channel, it's like our default TA. Like, I love fundamental TA, and I'm a big fan of it, and I use it as well. But I am just loving these oscillators. All three of these oscillators are Chart Prime oscillators. I'm kind of done with the other ones. I'm done with RSI. I'm done with MACD. I get everything I need from these ones, and then some, because it tells us more information with great oversold and overbought signals. This RSI primed right here, guys. Oh my goodness, I got to pull this down so you can see the name. RSI Prime. This is a free one. It's just lethal. It's literally RSI, but it changes the metrics into candles, which makes things so much easier to understand what's happening in terms of how fast things are moving. Sometimes RSI with its straight line can't tell you all this stuff. And then that's just the oscillators. You come in here and you pull up all these other indicators, reversal indicators, buy, sell, dynamic reactor. Some things we're going to take a look at today is momentum waves and our prime trend assistance. It's going to come into play on a couple different things. Let me see if those pop up so you guys can see how they look like. So make sure you guys are if you have not purchased Chart Prime and you want to support the channel and you want to be a great trader and get like almost borderline a cheat code in trading, you're going to want Chart Prime. Go check them out right now. Link down below. But let's take a look at what's happening. I'm going to pull this stuff down for just a second so we can keep our eyes on the bigger stuff, and then we'll move in and we'll look at that stuff as well. So this is the daily chart right now. You guys can see the most recent flash we had was an oversold flash, but we did kind of drop back down to these levels. But here's the biggest thing that you guys should be taking away right now when it comes to Bitcoin is this green line right here that we on Investing Bros have been talking about for literally months now. I'm not like, this is something we talked about last week. We've been talking about this level ever since all the way back here in January, talking about the significance of breaking through it. And sure enough, look at how we struggled to do so once, then twice. We kind of broke through the wick, but then struggled to get above it clearly. We've been talking about this, that once we broke through it, wait for a pullback to retouch this, to turn this former resistance level of the bear market into support. This would be a major bullish move. Well, guess what has happened, guys? We now have come down to retest this line over the last couple of days here twice, and it is still holding up very, very, very strongly. Is it possible for us to lose this line? Absolutely, it's possible. possible, because technically speaking, at any point, any price action is possible. We possibly could set a new all-time high tomorrow. Not likely, but we could. We possibly could go down to $3,000. You know, that's in the cards. I've seen a lot of bears talking about that all the way down here. It's not likely, but it's possible. But what we're seeing here on the chart,
Salloway, I'm going to need you to settle down with all that talk, okay?
I don't know if Gareth goes all the way to 3. Savvy does. And guess what, guys? I respect Savvy and Gareth. I just disagree with them, and that is okay. And the same thing for me. If you guys disagree with me, that's completely okay. But what I'm seeing here is not only this flat level 25.2 holding up, but the other one I told you guys this last week. This is about a week old. I drew 2 lines here, and I wanted to see which level of rising support would kind of play out. The yellow line is kind of following candle body closes on the daily chart. The blue line is kind of following candle body wicks of these last 2 touches. And at the moment, this yellow line is holding up right there where we met the 25. We didn't quite get 25.2. We got 25.3. Close enough for government work. And we all know, as we just saw with Piper, the government numbers, they can be fudged a little bit. Let's fudge them here a little bit too. Even though this green line's at 25.2, 25.3 is so close, we're still using this as strong support. We'll go ahead and call that a win here and a nice support level. We're within a falling trading channel that is bullish long-term. Again, I told you guys, I don't know exactly how or when, but I do believe that we're going to be shooting up here off this yellow line, off the green line, back up to the upside. Do we think that we're going to see $50,000 of Bitcoin this year? I'm kind of in the camp at the moment. I used to say yes. I'm kind of in the camp of saying no. I think it's a little too high. 36 to 42K is really what I'm keeping my eyes on. But we will keep you guys posted on that. One of the reasons why I am that way, though, let's go over and take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart here, guys. And this is something that there's a lot of different opinions on. Why, do I still have my marker on? Yeah, I do. Okay. Got to get rid of these little dots that I just drew. 50% on Bitcoin dominance does look like it is coming into play very, very soon. Technically, we got all the way up to about 49.69, but it's not officially 50%. But take a look at what we see going on here. Now, this is one I've seen other support on Twitter. Some other analysts saying, Ben Cohen, for example, is one who has been talking about this for a very long time. And if you guys have been watching me, I don't talk about it every single show, but I've mentioned this, the significance back here in April when we broke this long-term resistance level. These touches right here, this is back in July of 2021. What was happening back in July of 2021? That was the big dip after Elon and Tesla sold their Bitcoin, when we saw everything drop in price, but yet we saw dominance kind of go to the upside. We then had another touch over here back in June of 2022. Of course, what's happening in June of 2022, we're sitting middle of the bear market. Altcoins are dropping like crazy. Yeah, Bitcoin's dropping too, but it kind of came back up here and gave us a little trend line. And then over here in March, we ended up touching this and rejecting for just a second. But I told you guys, watch out for when we break this red line, we could potentially start to go up. I think there's a chance maybe Bitcoin makes it all the way, maybe even up towards 55%. It's a little high, but definitely conquering 50% happening here very soon. And sure enough, despite the fact that there was a lot of kind of sideways movement and indecision, the price is moving. And here's the thing. You guys know I've been talking about Bitcoin price comparison back to 2019 in June. Let's take a look at what happened on the Bitcoin dominance back in that same time period. So we're looking at February of 2019. Let's see where that is. February is right here. Boom. All right. We're looking at the bottom, February 19, we're looking at the bottom of Bitcoin's bear market back in 2019. We start to make a rally here and look at, and as that kind of rallies, you guys know that it peaks out in June. The dominance climbs here. This right here, June, that's where it peaked out, and then the price started to fall back down, and it continues to climb. I don't even think Bitcoin is peaked out yet, but watch this, guys. Watch when Bitcoin does peak out. Maybe the price is sitting here around 52, 53%, and then the Bitcoin price starts to fall, and it keeps climbing up towards 55. Who knows? Maybe even 60%. If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, let's go back over to Bitcoin real quick and take a look at 2019 here. This is what we're talking about, guys. Remember, all right, so February right here, boom, bottom of the bear market. We start to climb here. We peak out in June, but then as the Bitcoin price starts to fall, the dominance kept climbing. I think we're going to see a repeat of this happen just like that. But let's take a look at some other oscillators here going on with Bitcoin, and then we're going to move over and do some other TA as well. Today, I'm kind of staying out in bigger time frames. We do a lot of smaller time frame stuff too, but today, I might dip down to some smaller time frames here, especially since actually the 4-hour chart, I did want to look at the oscillators here. We do have some bullish divergence. You're going to see in a article we read later, it highlights this, but look at what we have going on over here, guys, with these kind of double bottom touches right here. This is flat, price action, the RSI is moving to the upside. We got 2 oversold flashes on both of these points. This is majorly bullish. We talked about this. I guess I didn't say it on the show. I made a video for somebody else actually discussing these waves, getting out of money flow, and how those are great bottom calls. So keep your eyes there on that as well. Let's go back out to the daily chart, though, and take a look at this. We're hovering right at the daily dynamic reactor. Those who have been using Chart Prime know how absolutely amazing this tool is. It's kind of flirting with it, deciding, do we want to turn it red after being green for a long time, or are we going to actually use it as support? Well, right now, sitting on top of 25.2, sitting on top of that dynamic reactor with this little green phase right here in our bands, our wave bands, this is green bullish momentum. That holding up gives me a lot of confidence that we are going to see, with our oscillators flashing oversold, with our support levels coming up very strong, both our rising support and our flat support, that Bitcoin is sitting in a beautiful spot. Also, last thing I'll do here on Bitcoin, guys, moving over to our Bitcoin CME futures, we just created a gap this weekend that needs to be filled. We need to climb back up above 26.4 to fill it. And you guys can see as you look at, we have some major gaps we've talked about for a while. We have one down here. Let's pull these down real quick so we can just see some normal TA here for a second. 12 on our oscillators. We have some big gaps to fill all the way up here towards 36,000. We have another one up here towards 54. We have one below us that drops as low as 19,900. But you guys can see when we zoom in here on CME futures, gaps are very normal, and we fill them almost immediately every single time. So the fact that we now have a gap above us, do not be surprised, guys, to see Bitcoin shoot back up, fill up this gap here very soon. And that kind of backs up all of the TA that we're kind of talking about here, seeing a lot of support for Bitcoin, seeing the dominance continue to climb. Although I do think certain altcoins could start to take some momentum away. For example, you guys know one of our favorites to do TA on here is Cardano, which, by the way, guys, I'm sitting here on Kraken chart. If you guys didn't scoop up some Cardano, you must hate it, and that's completely fine. So don't buy it. That's fine. Don't buy Cardano if you don't love it. It wicked down here to 21.75 cents. Talk about an amazing buy. I did not buy any that low. I got in closer towards 25, but had a very big dip. Go ahead. Yep.
Tim, I'm sitting here dying laughing. You started to say don't buy Kraken, and you said don't buy crack.
And well, don't buy crack either. That's good advice. That's good, solid advice. Do not buy crack. It's bad for you. Let's go back to Cardano, though, where this is good for you. We have a very high – this is the daily chart, guys. Look at the volume wick right here that we got on the daily chart here for Kraken. The only time we saw this outdone anytime recently, and which includes the FTX debacle, we had the big dip back in May of 2022. That, I believe, May was the Celsius. Was it Celsius or Terra Luna? It was one of those big ones that made a lot of prices fall. So we had a lot of volume. People sold off their Cardano. But this wick, as we set technically a new bottom to this bear market, is a massive bullish sign, in my opinion. And the last one I'm going to take a look at, I'm going to look at the oscillators real quick. I'm sure they're going to be flashing at me. Come on now. Pull up my oscillators. There we go. Yeah. Massive oversold signals. Look at this. Look at this. I forgot what this is called, Piper, but this price action falling below the money flow, that is classic bottom signal behavior.
That is the trend ribbon. Yes, that's the trend ribbon, and it's now starting to curve up. Yep, that looks very bullish.
Our RSI is sitting down at 6.44. Just give you some perspective. Let's go look at this. The last time we were this low on the RSI, we weren't even that low right there. It's actually all the way back. Oh, look at that. The last time we were this low was the bottom of the bear market before, all the way back here in December of 2022. So a lot of good signs here for Cardano, but I was looking this morning, ADA over Bitcoin, which not every coin over Bitcoin looks great right now, but we are seeing maybe potentially some great signals here. We've been in this little trading channel on Cardano over Bitcoin. We've just gotten a nice new flash of oversold here. Again, similar to Cardano's price itself, that ribbon is well below the money flow. Our RSI, which is hard to see at the moment, is sitting all the way down at, oh my goodness, does that say 2? No, okay, 6. Okay, I was wrong. It would have been crazy. It's sitting at 637, which the last time we were there, oh, look at that. It's the March bottom right there that we had on a Cardano over Bitcoin. So a lot of signs pointing towards Cardano, even rallying a little bit, picking up some ground on Bitcoin, are definitely happening. Piper, I'm going to go and throw it over to you before we go back into the stocks and stuff. What are you seeing on Ethereum this morning? Because I did see someone say that the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart maybe isn't looking as nice. What are your thoughts about Ethereum and maybe even XRP this morning?
All right, let's go jump into it, Tim. So looking at Ethereum here, guys. First off, we had this drop. We were calling this out on over the weekend here. So down she goes, down she blows, right? But right now, guys, the oscillator is looking pretty decent. The cloud is starting to tighten here in the lower half, so we could see maybe a little bit. I told you guys last week that I did see if we broke that levels that we were at around that 1775 range, that we were probably heading for the golden pocket. So if we do get some downside, be watching for that 1700 mark. Nice psychological number right there. On that 0.66, 0.65 on here. I don't know why I keep saying go back to 0.65. 0.66, but it's about $1,700. That would be the top of the golden pocket here. Money flow does look like it's starting to curve back up here on Ethereum also. And the last thing that I'm seeing here is that we have something going on. I want to show you guys this. First off, if I turn on the fixed price range, the fixed volume profile here, you can see that we wicked up to the value area low for that rejection. But I'm going to show you guys a little something new. And this is not from Chart Prime, believe it or not. I promise you, free indicator, not from Chart Prime. This one is called the CHBV, guys. And what this is, it's a Chebyshev type 1, type 2 mingled together. It is done by, and if I pull this up here, you can just type in CHBV in your indicators and you'll find it. But it's done by Peaceful Lizard. Okay, open source, free indicator. This Peaceful Lizard is the developer of Chart Prime. So, so you can see here, that's white line right here that's running across that we're getting all this rejection on is that indicator. So getting a lot of play on it there. So when I tell you guys we have the best people in the business, we really do have the best developers in the business. So yeah, that's you might want to throw that on. It's something to keep an eye on. How we came down and fought against that as resistance right now. That's what I'm watching. Also coming in line right there with an order block. So with the breaker block, actually, you can see that it's already been liquidated out, but still in play. So we got a breaker block there coming in with that Chebyshev type 1, type 2 from Peaceful Lizard. So give him a follow over there on TradingView. He does some great work and he drops free stuff all the time in addition to Chart Prime. So you guys will like it. Let's go ahead, though, over and see what we're looking at here, because we know that our range to get back to, obviously, is this 786 up here on the Platinum Pocket, guys. And that would also put us above the MAT system here. And I would be watching for a possible dip down to touch that golden pocket. And if we break up above, look for a retest on the Chebyshev and that breaker block to head back up to the 786. Now for the thing that everyone's been waiting for, because they're screaming about it over here, and with good reason, because tomorrow's got some big news coming out, guys. Huge news tomorrow. The Hinman documents will be out tomorrow. The Hinman emails, I should say, will be out tomorrow on XRP.
Do you know what, real quick, before you continue, do you know what time, Piper, do you know what time the Hinman files get released? Is it in the morning? Like, are we be able to discuss them on the show, or is he going to have to wait till Wednesday to discuss them?
I think, I don't know. Crux.
I'm going to be surprised.
Crux.
I'm going to be
find out
surprised
when those emails come out. Okay. And down she goes, down she blows. Crux says, question mark.
Crux pointed out, you know, we're on a different level. Go to Brocam real quick because we're interrupting this. You know, this is what happens when T-Stream's not here. The flow of the show just goes out the window. You know, we're on different levels today with our comments. We're not buying crack. Down she goes, down she blows. It's the worms. Going back to the intro of the show, if you guys missed the quote of the day, it's because Piper and I are both night owls and early birds, which means we're wise and we have worms. And the worms are really kicking in this morning with some of our expressions. But I'm liking it. I even saw, let's do this. I saw in chat, I want to shout out Crypto Billy 111 on it like a bonnet. You love it. I mean, we need a lot of these little expressions right here. It's good stuff. But yeah, it's just the worms kicking in. If you guys every now and then have some worms, put a 1 in chat and you guys can relate to us. But Piper, let's
As
get
a
back
matter
into
of
it.
fact, no, they need to hit that like button, man, because we've got like 150
We got
people
like
in here. We
150
got
people. Yeah.
61 likes. Like, I feel like everyone's just here for the comedy and forgetting about the TA that we're providing, the alpha. So all right, let's
I'm
get
saying
back over to
if you can cut through the worms, this is good stuff. This is top notch TA. It's coming with an extra kick this morning. So Piper, what are we seeing on XRP?
All right, on XRP. First off, you guys can see my little long entry right here. I'm doing quite well on my little long on XRP because I grabbed it up down here at about 49 point whatever cents, 49.5 cents. So right now, guys, guess where we are? Back in the platinum pocket. I talked about this with you guys forever. Like, this is the happy zone for XRP. So anytime we're below it, I tend to like run in and grab it when we get back up towards the top. I did miss this one. I was actually doing a whole bunch of stuff with my dad yesterday because you guys know I take care of him, and my wife and I were doing stuff with him and for him. So I missed taking my profit there, but I'm still in it. I think we're coming back up to it. We're looking really strong here. Look at the money flow coming up to the upside here. We're getting a nice bounce off of the zero line. Looks like we're coming up higher on the traditional oscillator here. And we got, look, engulfing on the prime RSI down here at the bottom. So, guys, XRP looking strong. I think tomorrow's going to be the telltale. I can't tell you what it's going to be after that because I don't know what's in those emails, and I don't know how people are going to react to those emails. Yeah, I'm looking at this to say this is looking fantastic. The nice bounce on the wick out of the momentum waves. Guys, I'm very bullish on XRP, and I think that it's got a lot of upside to go. I like it. I like XRP. If you guys like XRP too, go ahead and throw an X down there in the chat. And you can put X Army. You just put X Army, and that means that you're all hyped about XRP and you're hyped about me, and I appreciate you all. Love you all. So that's what I got, Tim. Kicking it over. Do you want to check out some stocks?
Yeah, let's take a look at the stocks world real quickly. Starting off with the Dixie, even though it's technically not a stock, we always like to look at it. It's a little up, but you guys are going to see as I zoom in here on the daily chart, that is the dynamic reactor that we conquered it for a quick second. Again, we thought back in May, we were going to reject off of this dynamic reactor. Turns out we didn't. I am interested what happened here. We didn't quite get to the 200. The 200 is all the way up here on the daily chart. But we came through the dynamic reactor. Now we've been flirting with it. We're back down below. It is red at the moment, and we just rejected on it today. So can we hold that level? Right now, the goal for today, and maybe the next couple of days, is to hold resistance at 103.30 cents. That would be major for Bitcoin, because the Dixie, of course, we know that crypto and stocks usually trade inversely with it. Are we seeing the Dixie start to head back down to the downside? And then, of course, we want to see, can it break down this 100? It has not done it. We actually, triple bottomed right here at about 100. It's time for us to go ahead and break down and get back down to this golden pocket here. Maybe even start heading down to the platinum pocket. At least come down. Watch for, now that we broke through this resistance, let me go ahead and get rid of this here so I have a little more clarity on the screen. Now that we broke through this resistance, watch for a potential bounce of a retesting and support. That could come down all the way down here to this golden pocket. If I were to extend this out all the way out here, we could see a bounce off of it down to the golden pocket, down at 98 cents. Very much that actually looks like what it could do. And then maybe, we've talked about it before, there's going to be probably later this year a little bit of an everything's all right rally happening, in which case we come down here pretty far, we make one more bounce that fakes people out, and then the Dixie starts falling for real for a long time. Let's take a look at what's happening with the S&P 500. I actually haven't looked at this. So you and I are going to be looking at the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ all together, seeing what's happening. We are green this morning, up 0.226 on the S&P. Dow Jones is up 0.3. NASDAQ up 0.3. We've been talking about this. Again, watch these levels as we start to climb. Let's see what's happening over. We kind of are ignoring this overbought flash here on the chart prime oscillator, which I've told you guys before is a major bullish move. I don't love that we're this high on the RSI. We're sitting right here. What is this? 86. That's not the end of the world. It's not crazy high. But it does look like the S&P 500 is probably getting close to a peak out. When I see the RSI this high, the fact that these ribbons here are getting really high. Yes, we ignored this overbought flash, this double overbought flash, but that could be a sign of something coming here soon. Don't be surprised, guys, to see maybe one last push up toward 43, maybe towards 44 almost, and then a rejection on this rising level of resistance here for the S&P 500. Dow Jones, there we go, guys. Whew. We called it. We talked about getting back up here. It is now sitting at resistance. Let's take a look at what's happening here. I mean, all these are going to be very, very similar. I'm not getting my oscillators to load for me. We're not necessarily sitting here with bearish divergence, I wouldn't say. It's getting close here. There we go, getting high. We have not gotten overbought flash yet on the daily chart here for the Dow Jones. So maybe do we see a wick push through this level? Either way, keep an eye on that level of resistance, and we are getting very close to it up here towards 34. Even if we go a little bit above it, might not be bad if you guys are trading in the Dow Jones to go ahead and take some profit right there. Last one we're looking at this morning, NASDAQ. It didn't quite get down to support like I thought it would, but it's pushing back up. It does show a red candle. That's weird that it says it's bullish right now, but it's showing a red candle. Maybe that has to do with how it opened the day. Yeah, okay, it just opened with a gap. So maybe it wants to come down here and close this gap on here. Again, it's one that kind of ignored the overbought flashes here on the oscillators and is pushing to the upside. With this one, I'm going to say NASDAQ, it's kind of been the most bullish of them all here. You guys can see it kind of went away, broke through its level of resistance, and has just been climbing here. But when the things go up and we get a lot of what I call Christmas tree decorations happening here on the oscillators, yes, we've been ignoring them, but it's only a matter of time before one flashes and it's time for this price to come crashing back down. Of course, again, guys, this is something we're expecting to happen here. With the dollar struggling very much so, with the economy still very much in a question mark state, the stock market more than likely will have another good dip here. Even though we talked about last week, some people believe because they've had 20% rallies that the bull market's back. But as we went and back tested, it's pretty common for 20% rallies to end and then new bottoms to come in here. So keep your eyes here on the NASDAQ, but a lot of signs in the economy still pointing towards new lows coming this year for the NASDAQ, for Dow Jones, and S&P 500. That being said, though, it is time to switch over into our community, which I know Piper has an announcement here, and I think I just have one. We'll cover one thing for me and then Piper, and then we'll get back into some of these headlines. But Piper, what you got for us this morning?
Tim, I just confirmed it. It's all done. It's already confirmed, but I will be on Around the Blockchain tonight. So come join us, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. for the Californians. I'm going to be live on Around the Blockchain tonight. So come support me, throw some X1s out there, plus ones up there, and let's see if I can win, because I've had 2 losses in a row now. So it happens. I'm feeling quite defeated.
Listen, it happens to the best of us. You know, even this last time I was on last week, and I started the show off with a joke, but then they listened to me. I didn't know I had that much power, but I joked that when Piano Matty B goes on, it's a cheat code, and that he should start with -3 points. And sure enough, they listened to me. They handicapped him. But then, you know, there's another Eleanor. I can't remember her last name, but Eleanor was on the show, and she did great, and she beat me. So it was like, all right, I just can't win. I just don't think they like me. So it is what it is.
I do votes. Have another announcement.
Yeah, what's your other announcement?
Tomorrow I'm going to be doing TA over on Sun City Crypto. So I'll be dropping that link also. Yeah. So sure go down below, grab my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, and then that's where I drop all the things that I'm going to be on. So it's perfect.
Sweet. Well, my only announcement, because I've seen a lot of people asking about it. So I don't know if this date is 100% correct, but I know it's the right area. A lot of people asking, when is T-Shroom coming back? We're about to jump into the news, which of course is T-Shroom section, but we're trying to handle it when he's gone. T-Shroom should be back on the show, I do believe, the 19th. I believe he comes back on the 18th late, and then he said that he will be on the show on the 19th, barring, of course, if he's sick or anything else. But we're very excited to get him back here. It has been a blast. Me and Piper running the news station, the news course. I feel like we got a little bit of a flow last week with how we ran the news. A lot of fun things happening, but I do miss T-Shroom. Cannot wait for him to get back and to run that section. With that said, though, let's go ahead and jump into our headlines. I don't think we have as many as we normally do, and that's completely okay, because we went a little long with some of the other things as well. But let's start off here. I kind of hinted at it earlier. Let's start off with the bullish side. We got 2 different stories, bullish and bearish, for Bitcoin. The bullish side is that Bitcoin eyes the bullish scenario as thousands of Bitcoin are acquired by whales. Now, I want to start off by saying, guys, we've been seeing a lot of stories like this. Whales have been buying Bitcoin. But guess what that means? That means that Bitcoin is close to a bottom, if not already at the bottom. The whales know. The whales know that Bitcoin is sitting in a great spot. That's why they keep on buying. But let's go ahead and read the article here. In a recent report from crypto intelligence portal Santiment, it has been revealed that Bitcoin's prominent investors, commonly referred to as whales, have amassed an impressive number of Bitcoin despite the recent 10% dip in price. These whales, who hold anywhere between 100 to 10,000 Bitcoins, so that's what a whale is in case anyone didn't know, collectively accumulated an additional 57,500 Bitcoin. Not $57,500 worth of Bitcoin, 57,500 Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin, guys. This accumulation has created a noteworthy bullish divergence that hits at potential strong rebound in the near future. We kind of talked about it on the charts, but yeah, that's it. This is last thing I'm going to read on this article. And I want to discuss it with Piper for just a second, kind of break it down. With this notable surge in whale holdings by approximately 1,000 Bitcoin daily, oh, that's a lot. Despite the declining prices, there are strong indications that a bullish scenario may be on the horizon. These intriguing findings providing optimism to the market and suggest that a potential robust recovery may be in the cards for Bitcoin. Go to Brocam really quick, Piper. I want to get, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about this really quickly? And I want to kind of break down what I'm seeing. I've kind of been talking about this on the charts, but I want to hear your thoughts on it first.
So we know that when the whales start moving, that's when you should be moving, right? Whale watching is what we call it, right? That's why I follow everybody on Twitter that has whale alerts. However, I will say that there was a time that whales were accumulating at this level before we went lower before. So it isn't they're not fortune tellers. They can't see the future, but it is a good sign to look at your DCA strategy. So I don't want to say that, hey, the whales are buying, it's time to buy right now this minute. They have made some bad calls before. So
yeah, and that's to be fair. Like nothing is 100%, even when whales buy. But traditionally, we see the whales buy when we see a lot of retail investors want out, and we see the whales want to get in at levels that are close to, if not the bottom. And really quickly, we talked about this. Go to my screen here really quickly here, Piper. We discussed this back when we were up here. I think we were back up here in May. We were kind of hovering. We were hitting resistance level right here around almost 30,000. And I think it was actually, we had this big dip. And I told you guys, hey, watch how this works. Watch how whales, how manipulators work. They pump fear into the market, convincing all of us. Like when we were dropping down here, this, in case you guys are following Bitcoin Twitter, crypto Twitter, everyone right back here was like, oh, here we go. We're going down for forever. We're going to crash and burn and go back down to 20,000 and fill that CME gap down at 20,000, yada, yada, yada. And I was saying, watch out, guys, because when the retail investors are scared and freaking out and selling, that's when the whales, that's when the people that can keep their nerves even keel, that's when they want to buy. And sure enough, we've been watching the whales buy a lot right here. Why? Because they know that this is very strong support. Now, Piper's right. It doesn't mean we can't drop down. Things can change, things can happen. But when you see whales buying like this, even if you're not a whale, I mean, again, I don't know if anyone watching right now, if you own more than 100 Bitcoin and you're watching right now, you're awesome. Hit me up. Let's talk more. But I don't assume most of you guys are in that boat. But people who do own between 100 and 10,000, these whales, they are patient and they know the good price levels. And if you can watch what they're doing and learn to mimic them with whether you own 1 Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or a half a Bitcoin or 0.25 Bitcoin. I was thinking about this the other day, Piper. I'm going to move on after this. You can go back to Brocam here real quick. I want to make sure there's nobody in our audience that thinks this way, because I definitely have thought this way. And it's a very discouraging way to think. And you need to go ahead and root it out of your brain cells right now. I've seen a lot of people say when it comes to trading or investing, they'll be like, well, I only have X amount of money. Like I only have $100 or I only have $50. So even if the market does 10X and I had 100, let's go with $100. That's easy math. If I have $100 and the market 10X's, right? Now I have $1,000. And a lot of people are like, well, that's just not that much money. So is it even worth my time? That is very, very dumb. Very, very dumb. If only people who have a lot of money invest in crypto, if only people who have $10,000 to invest in crypto, or $100,000 to invest in crypto, or $1 million. And everybody who only has like $50 or $100 or $1,000, if those people say, I'm not going to trade because I'll only 10x my money and that's not much money, guess what Bitcoin will become? It'll become a rich person's money. Only the rich will trade it. Only the rich will buy it. Only the rich will invest in it. And that is the exact opposite of what Bitcoin can add. If you only have $50 that you can afford to trade in Bitcoin, do not be scared and do not run away just because a 10x is not as significant of a gain as if you could have invested 10,000 or 100,000 or $1 million. That is still 10xing your money. That is still thousands of dollars that you would not have had before. And then guess what? Now that you turn $50 into $5,000, now you're sitting in a $5,000 range. So you find products, you do your research, you trade, and you 10x that. And now we're talking about $50,000. And then you 10x that. And now we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're starting to push towards the millions. You got to start somewhere. So do not run away, or do not say, I'm not going to play the game because I don't have enough money. That's why Bitcoin is here. It's to turn your very little into a lot more than it was before. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't say, like, just because I don't have as much money as Piper, or I don't have as much money as Michael Saylor, or I don't have that. Who cares?
I am no Michael Saylor. Why are you putting me in that range?
I just wanted, we were scaling. Who cares what somebody else has? All that you should worry about is, who am I right now? How much money do I have right now versus how much money could I have if I invest wisely? That is the whole goal. So I don't know if anyone needed to hear that this morning. I know I still struggle with that sometimes. I still struggle sometimes with money in trades, thinking like, oh, is this even going to be a significant trade? And we got to get those thoughts out of our brain. We got to start realizing, even if I can only invest $50 and turn $50 into $500, that's $450 I just made up out of thin air. You got to start thinking like that. Let's start moving on, though. Let's go to the bearish side of Bitcoin. Go ahead and share my screen once again here, Piper. All right, so even though we have whales buying, Bitcoin bearish signal, miners are selling at the third largest scale ever. According to data from the on-chain analytics Glassnode, let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit so people can read here. Lots of great advertisements on this article, by the way. Let's see, miner exchange flow hit a peak value of $70 million recently. The miner inflow to exchanges is an indicator that measures the total amount of Bitcoin that miners are transferring to wallets of all centralized exchanges. Generally, these chain validators deposit their Bitcoin to exchanges for selling related purposes. So this kind of trend can have a bearish effect on the value of the cryptocurrency. On the other hand, low value suggests the selling pressure coming in from miners may be low right now, as the cohort isn't depositing any significant amounts to exchanges at the moment. So that's just kind of setting up for you guys. When we see them depositing a lot, the prices usually are reversing to go to the downside, and we see them depositing almost nothing. That's usually a bottom signal, and prices are going to the upside. Well, you guys can see from this chart. Let me try to even zoom in just a little more for you guys. There's really, I don't think it shows. Yeah, okay. So over here, the third, which I don't think that's it right either. I think the second one is way over here and you can't see it, but it does measure the peak that we had back here. This was not the exact top of the bull market back in 2021, or even the bull market at the time, but it was very close to the top, and you guys see a massive amount of inflows. And just because money inflows from miners doesn't mean they're ready to sell. It means they're getting themselves ready to sell a lot of times. You guys can see there's lots of spikes, though, throughout both bull and bear markets, but we're seeing a very, very high spike over here just a couple of days ago. Now, I want to start off by making sure people understand. This does not mean with 100% certainty that they are selling. There's a lot of things they could be doing, but even if they are selling, I also don't think that this marks the top of a market, because it's a hard economy right now. As people have pointed out very much so on a lot of different podcasts and shows, this is the first time that Bitcoin has really hit a hard recession. Yes, we went through the pandemic, and technically I think there in 2018, 2019, we technically had 2 quarters of negative GDP, but it was sandwiched between very high GDP the other quarters. This is the first time that Bitcoin has been involved in a very, very hard economic output worldwide. And so miners, this might not be them saying we think that the price is about to drop. This might be the miners saying we can't pay our bills. We can't buy food. We can't keep paying the electric bill to keep running our computers, to keep mining this. We got to sell a little bit of it just to pay off some bills, and then we can keep on going. So despite the fact that technically this is a bearish thing and we should keep an eye on it, again, this is one of the things we got to be aware of for if we do lose 25.2 and we start heading to the downside. This could be one of the reasons why. But I'm just not that concerned at this point, Piper, because again, when we're looking at the economic output in the world right now, it's hard to pay bills, and these miners got to keep the electricity on. Do you have any thoughts about this, Piper, before we move on? I know we have a couple more stories here. Only about 5 minutes left, though.
Yeah, I don't have anything on it, Tim. Let's just keep moving. Let's jump.
Yeah, I there's actually even one story here I might just go ahead and skip because it's not as important, but we'll get there. Let's go here. Binance CEO CZ responds as data points to billions in exchange outflows. You guys, I'm going to read the accusations that were made, and then CZ kind of gives them some clarity here. A lot of FUD right now surrounding Binance, in case you didn't know. While the data suggests that crypto assets have been flowing out of centralized exchanges at an accelerated pace over the last week, Binance CEO CZ argues it may not be as bad as it appears. So here's the accusation. According to Nansen, there have been a net outflow of $2.36 billion from Binance over the past 7 days, along with $123.7 million outflowing from Binance.us. That's a lot. We'll pause right there. That's a lot of money. CZ kind of clarifies, though. Let's start off. However, in June 10th Twitter post, CZ argued that some exchange outflow data can be skewed as some third-party analytics measured change in assets under management as outflow, which would include times where crypto prices decline. There's a tweet he put out over here, but pretty much it sums it up in this sentence right down below. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one. CZ instead claimed that the firm's outflow over the past 24 hours on June 9th was around $392 million. That's a lot lower than the billions that were acclaimed, which pales in comparison to the $7 billion one-day outflow that was recorded last year in November around the time of FTX's collapse. He goes on to say some even only measure outflow, not inflows. Only on sharp price movement days like today, many arbitrage traders move a lot of funds between exchanges, usually exponentially more than on normal days. Pretty much what he's saying is, guess what, guys? Yes, technically speaking, money moving off exchange could have hit $2 billion in that week. The problem is they weren't measuring what was coming on. And the net outflow for that one day, rather than being in the billions, was only $392 million. So this is a nice thing to see. You know, if anyone's still freaking out watching these numbers because of all the stuff happening with Binance and the SEC and Coinbase, make sure we're looking through and cutting through the FUD, because it's very easy to see articles that say, oh my gosh, $2.36 billion outflow from Binance. They're finished. Well, what about how much money flowed onto Binance in that same day? And how about let's look at in the past when really bad things have happened like FTX and there were outflows a day of $7 billion in one day. The truth is Binance is not struggling right now, despite the fact that media is very much going to want to make you think that way. We're going to keep moving on here, though. I'm going to read this last story. There was one. I'm going to just show it. Billionaire Mark Cuban says it's nearly impossible to know what is a security and what's not. We're going to riff on that, have a conversation, but you guys know we're in the same boat as Mark Cuban. There's no clarity whatsoever from the SEC. This is the bigger story that I do believe could have massive impacts. We might even talk about this more tomorrow, but top Hong Kong leader welcomes Coinbase and crypto companies. Let's go down here. I think this is where it really gives us what we want. Hong Kong politicians invite Coinbase to apply for crypto license. Contrary to regulatory, let's zoom in here a little bit. Contrary to a regulatory environment in the United States, Hong Kong leader Johnny NG, I don't know how that's pronounced, so we're not going to try, had on Saturday wrote an open invitation to the likes of Coinbase and other crypto trading operators to come and apply for regulatory license in the region. He's quoted saying, I hereby offer an invitation to welcome all global virtual asset traders, operators, including Coinbase, to come to Hong Kong for application of official trading platforms and further development plans. Please feel free to approach me, and I'm happy to provide any assistance. Recently, Hong Kong made news by allowing retail investors to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies. As a result, there has been a rise in demand for some of the Chinese crypto coins, although not as much as anticipated. Go to bro cam for us, Piper, as we kind of close out the show today.
Bro cam, man.
Bro cam. What are your thoughts about this? What are your thoughts? Does this excite you? Do you think this is a good thing? What are your thoughts about Hong Kong reaching out directly to Coinbase and other exchanges, asking them to come to Hong Kong?
So my recommendation is, Tim, is right now we have our video edit guy start clipping all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because 5 years from now, when everyone goes, how did we get here? We'll already have the content together for that video. This is the foundation of time of when the United States lost its footing in the blockchain technology world. I won't even say crypto. This is where they lost their footing in the blockchain technology space. So congratulations, you're officially shooting yourself in the foot, United States government. And this is the moment when we started losing that entire fight to be dominant in this space. So,
you know, as we're closing out the show, Piper, I think everything you just said was spot on. And here's the thing I want people to understand. As much as there looks like doom and gloom, it's not over for the United States. The 13th, here in literally tomorrow, in one day, we're going to have Congress meeting. That could be a big, big move to work against these ridiculously outrageous moves by the SEC. America's not over, but it is sitting on a decision point that is going to mark the future massively. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people have been saying this recently, and this is how sad this situation is. We are not overly political people. Myself, Piper, T-Shroom, we are not. We study. We want to learn. We want to grow. But I can speak for myself on this very clearly. There are things about the Republican Party, the Democrat Party that both sides piss me off. I am not a believer in politics, and I'm going to say this, guys. I'm a believer in Jesus. I believe the only answer for this world is Jesus, but I do believe politics play a part. It's just been really annoying. Issues like what we are seeing are making me into a political figure, and I'm going to have to become a political figure. I'm going to have to talk about politics, because unless we fix this in this next election, unless we wake up in the United States and realize we are losing out to freedom opportunities to Russia and China, that should scare the crap out of every single American citizen. That should wake every single one of us up to say, you know what, it is time for me to care about politics. It is not the most important thing in the world. Do not make politics your end-all be-all. Do not make crypto your end-all be-all. Ultimately, whether you believe in Jesus,
don't end personal relationships over politics either.
whether you believe in Jesus or you believe in any other religion, I'm a big believer in your faith, whatever it is. Make that your end all be all, because that will carry you and help inform you. But it is time to start waking up and saying, you know what, we're not going to be silent anymore, and I'm going to have my voice be heard. Because if we do not do it in this next election, it's going to be pretty scary. It's going to be pretty rough road to get back if we don't have positivity happen. And I'm not supporting any one individual. I'm not even supporting a party. I'm supporting the concept of politicians who support freedom. We've got to support them. We've got to make our voices known. That was a different ending to today's show, but it is time to go ahead and wrap it up. We love each and every single last one of you guys. On your way out, make sure you go and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are the Investing Bros, the most generous crypto community in all of YouTube. With that said, though, guys, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place. You guys have a great day.
Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.